Ow, Kathryn, stop punching me.
I'm not doing anything.
Ow. Ah!
Saf.
Stop it, Kathryn. Stop hurting me.
I'm not touching him. He's across the table from me.
Actually, you're not that far. Ow! Security. I need security.
I'll bite you.
Ah, I'm so scared. No, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. It's just to make it more entertainment for you. Or, I'm just joking. Yeah. Hey, it's Saf here. Welcome to my podcast channel, Safyan Iqbal Podcast. I will be chatting with my guest about how she fell in love with and her involvement with the wrestling community and what inspired her. Now, let's welcome my guest, Kathryn Parker.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah, fabulous. Tell me what you do for a living.
So, for a living, I am an assistant producer at the Wales Millennium Centre. So I help produce their creative learning programme, which involves a lot of creative opportunities for young people, including Radio Platform, which is where we're recording at right now.
Woohoo!
We love Radio Platform. But I'm also involved in the professional wrestling industry. So I used to be a professional wrestler, but now work on more of the event side of things with some promotions in South Wales.
That's so cool.
Thanks.
I'm interested about what you mentioned, Wrestle. Is that correct? Wrestle. So it's someone who is silent. Like, how do you pronounce to say it?
Oh, wrestler or wrestling. Wrestle.
Wrestle. So it's someone who is silent.
Wrestle. Yeah.
Yeah, thought so.
Wrestle. And the T as well is silent.
Is it?
Yeah, wrestle. Unless you're saying wrestle. No, yeah, wrestler. Wrestling. Wrestle.
So silent of W and T.
Yeah.
Wrestle.
Yeah.
Is that
wrestler.
correct? Okay. I take your word.
Okay.
So, what inspired you to get into wrestling, and how has the journey been so far?
So I actually was inspired to start wrestling because my mum was watching this thing called Total Divas, which was a program about the female wrestlers, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but for female wrestlers. And I saw them do it on that program, and I was like, oh, I could do that, because I liked rugby, I was interested in theatre and acting, and I was like, oh, it's a mix of those kind of things. And then I started training at a local school in Newport, and just went from there and fell in love with it as an art form and as like a physical thing as well. It keeps you really fit as well.
Oh wow, how did your mum feel about this?
She thought it was cool, but I think she was very worried about kind of injuries and stuff. You know, I'd come home with lots of bruises and different injuries all the time, so she did get worried about it. But I was having fun and I was keeping fit, so I think she was mainly happy for me.
Yeah, I bet she's happy. You're so brave.
Thank you.
Not put it out. What makes you fall in love with this sport, and why is wrestling so important to you? Reason I asked because many girls I talk to, they're more like cooking, socializing, 100 picture selfie a day, maybe I'm wrong or more or less, or many more. But with you, Kathryn, when I met you before, you nothing talk about others, just wrestling. And it makes me, I've never seen any girls do wrestling, but you, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's just the fact I've always been in love with theatre and performing arts, and especially when I was coming out of high school, I wanted to keep fit a lot more. I was into rugby. So then when I discovered wrestling and started training, I just fell in love with that side of it because it's very physical and you've got to be like an athlete, but also it's the acrobatics, the performance and the theatre behind it. that I also enjoyed as well, and it was like marrying two things I really loved. And then it's just something that I've just been able to be passionate about because it's just felt easy to enjoy for me, which is not the same for a lot of my family. They find it quite hard and confusing to enjoy, but because I suppose I do enjoy it, I find it easy to watch and to not to do. It's very hard to do, but I do enjoy doing it, so that's good.
As you have fought a lot of wrestling matches, what's it like to fight others in this way?
Yeah, so, well, especially when I was in my early 20s, 18, 19, 20, I was doing lots of matches, probably about 2 or 3 a month. So I would wrestle lots of other women as well around the country, but I would also wrestle some men. Yeah.
You wrestle men too?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's very different, lots of different people from lots of different areas of the country as well. So I've wrestled people from London, from the Midlands, but also from Wales as well. Yeah, it's fun, but it can also be difficult as well. I guess sometimes it depends on the person. Sometimes you get along better with other people. Sometimes other people share the same ideas and like the same kind of styles and moves and things like that. And also, sometimes you wrestle people who are newer than you or have had more experience. So the people who have more experience, I would try and learn as much as possible from. And then the people that are maybe on the same kind of level as me, we would just try and maybe keep it a bit simple and just get something good. But yeah, it depends on the person really who you're wrestling.
Oh my God. I'm so jumping. When you mentioned you fight against men, really?
Yeah.
Because I thought had to be girls versus girls and men versus men.
I think definitely on your more mainstream things that you see on TV like WWE and TNA and AEW are the bigger ones. So because they're on TV and there's lots of controversy around and triggers around possibly men wrestling women, they tend to keep it men against men and women against women. But we call it the independent scene. So places that that just wrestle locally, they do shows locally, you tend to see a lot more intergender, what we call it, intergender wrestling. So you might see men wrestling women, or I'll be in a tag team with another man, so there'll be another man and woman as a tag team opposite as well, but you can mix up who wrestles who in that kind of situation. So.
That's so interesting. Do you ever get your own mentor or a coach?
Yeah, so when I started training, my coach was Wild Boar Mike Hitchman, if you want to look him up on social media. So I coach ever since as well. He's my mentor, somebody I would go to for advice and things. But yeah, there's a school with about 4 or 5 different coaches now. So yeah, we're very lucky in South Wales that we've got that kind of resource, because a lot of them, like Wild Boar, there's also Mark Andrews who trains as well. They've all been to the WWE. They've been signed as part of their UK branch, and they've been to America and all over Europe and things like that. So we're very, very lucky to have their knowledge and their skills teaching us as well.
That's amazing. I'm very curious how long you have to get trained and start your first match.
So, well, it was quite different for me and my partner Josh. He also wrestles. So for me, it took me about 2 years because I had an injury in between, but also it just took me that long to train and get ready. Whereas my partner Josh, he took to it really well because he's loved wrestling since he was about 3 years old. So he was 19 when he had his first match. So he picked up on it within about 6 months. He had his first wrestling match. So it's quite a drastic difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, your partner is a wrestler too?
Yes, he is. He wrestles
oh my gosh.
as Josh Holly. He's a baddie though. He's a heel.
So how do you two met each other?
Through wrestling, yeah. We met just through training.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's better than the usual Tinder story that a lot of people give.
When you fought people, how did that make you feel?
Well, it would make me feel excited. It would make me feel nervous, very nervous wrestling some people. But yeah, it was just fun. I just always remember having a lot of fun and, thinking of different ideas and things. Yeah, but I feel like sometimes there was a lot of pressure being a woman as well. I think still are some views that women wrestlers need to work a bit harder than men, but there are also some views that they don't have to work as hard because there's less of us, so we're competing with less women, whereas men, there's so many male wrestlers out there that you're competing with a lot of other people.
And you think women should get more harder?
Yeah, I think they definitely should get more recognition and more opportunity, but I think that's like the trouble is that usually a lot of the time you do have like just the one women's match on a show, and it then becomes harder for women to get good because they can't wrestle people who are better than them. And I think that's where a lot of the male wrestlers get better, because they get to wrestle people who teach them a lot and give them a lot of experience, whereas a lot of the women that I was wrestling maybe didn't have as much experience as some of the men on the show, so I wasn't progressing as much as my partner Josh because he was wrestling people who were teaching him more than maybe my opponents were.
Do you ever get injured?
Yeah, so I have actually had quite a few injuries. I'm known for it in wrestling.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay. So about a year in, I dislocated my shoulder hitting somebody.
Ouch.
Yeah, it hurt a lot, but I was very calm about it. So, you know, it was fine. It wasn't like a horrendous injury, but I did have to have a surgery to reattach my labrum, which is the muscle that attaches your shoulder to the socket. Yeah, so I had to have a surgery for that. So I was out for about 6 to 9 months with that. Yeah.
Why so long?
Because I had to wait for it to all heal. I had to do some more kind of physio to build the muscle back up. And I did a lot of squats in that time as well. My arm was in a sling for about 4 months. So yeah, it was a lot of rehab. But then I got over that. I debuted, which means I had my first match. And then I dislocated my shoulder again about 8 months into wrestling matches.
Oh my God.
So I had to have another surgery.
Another one?
Yeah, I've had
two
shoulder
God.
surgeries, yeah.
What's this time now? Your second surgery?
Yeah, so I'm on my second surgery. Apparently this is the
Again.
last one, yeah, same shoulder. This is my last chance, so I've taken a bit of a step back at the moment. But other injuries I've had, I've broken my eye socket. I broke my eye socket here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that was somebody kicking me in the face by accident. I know.
On your eye?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if they had been slightly higher up, they would have exploded my eyeball or something. So I'm very lucky, actually. They only broke the eye socket. Yeah.
What is socket?
The bone that like is underneath your eye.
Yeah.
So we call it an eye socket because the eye sits in the socket. Yeah.
Did your eyeball come out somewhere, or just...
No, I was very lucky that my eyeball didn't. It was a tiny break.
Oh.
Like tiny.
But nothing like came out, it was just...
No.
Broken
just
inside.
Broken, yeah. I had a massive bruise and it went up into my eyeball, so I had like a yellow eyeball and a red eyeball.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then the bruise was all on my cheek. That was a big one.
And you have to operation that again on this part?
No operation on that one, luckily. But it could have gone that way if it was a bad break. But luckily it wasn't that bad.
Kicking your eye?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is so exciting for me to hear this.
Yeah.
So excited to hear this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy one.
I wish I could get popcorn here and listening all the stories that happened there. So any more of these, or?
Yes, so my sternum, which is the bone above your ribs in the middle, my coach, Mike Hitchman, actually broke it, hitting me in the chest. Yeah. That one hurt a lot.
Hit you with elbow?
With his forearm.
Oh,
so he
wow.
hit me with his forearm. We were doing like a sequence of moves, and he was hitting me, so he hit me in the jaw, in the back, and then he hit me on the chest, and it broke my sternum.
Why?
I think it's just me. I'm not very lucky with wrestling injuries.
Oh wow! I bet you like cover all the blood and bruise and like.
Yeah, I suppose I've hit my nose before and had blood come out after a match. So that's the only time I've ever had blood. But I've had lots of bruises and lots of like red marks because you do this thing called running the ropes, where you hit the ropes in the ring, and that gives people like a lot of bruising on their back. But that's like red bruising, so it looks quite bad, but it tends to be okay.
Yeah, if that happened again, your coach say, "Oh, that's enough," or you just keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I think with breaks, it's not too bad because they don't take a lot of time to heal, and generally they say breaks heal stronger, we'd like to think. But yeah, I suppose with sports injury, I was very lucky that I had health insurance, which was able to cover the costs of private hospital fees. So I was able to get my surgeries a lot quicker than going through the NHS. So the person who did my surgery specialises in like sports injuries anyway, and the physio that I had specialised in sports injuries. So the goal was to build me back up. But my surgeon said if I dislocate my shoulder again, that's probably it. That's probably no more wrestling for me.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I've decided to take it a bit slower this time, not rush back into it with my shoulder, because I don't want to pop it out again. No thanks.
So with the wrestling thing you've done, do you cover your insurance?
So I think that's a big thing that's only come in the past 5 to 10 years with wrestling is people starting to get like health insurance and cover for costs, because it used to be especially the independent scene used to be a very DIY kind of scene. Like there's not a lot of risk assessments. There's not a lot of like policies and insurances in terms of people running shows, which is something that I've been trying to implement, and also the coaches in Newport have been trying to implement. So they've brought in like admiral insurers to come in and chat to all of the trainees to say once you start working matches you'll be a lot more susceptible to injuries and stuff. So they are offering like an insurance to cover any loss of earnings from work if you can't work if you're injured, and also cover any injury costs for hospitals and private appointments and things like that. So yeah, there is cover out there, but I would definitely be paying for that if I started wrestling again.
Did you?
I was very lucky that I did have it when I did injure myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my partner's got it now, just in case. But yeah, I haven't got it at the moment because I'm not wrestling at the moment. But I think I definitely would if I did.
You imagine you and your partner both get surgery one day.
Oh gosh, I can't. Yeah, that would be the worst.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you both so brave.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. So, what challenges have you faced as a female wrestler, and how have you overcome them?
So I think one of the biggest challenges is the conception that female wrestlers aren't as good as the male wrestlers, or that they don't have to be as good as the male wrestlers to get the same recognition. So usually there'll only be like one female wrestling match on a show. So you'll have the one match with the females and everything else will be male dominated. I think that still is something that kind of happens a lot. And that's the biggest thing I think for me was trying to overcome that kind of ideology, and it's trying to prove yourself as a female wrestler. But I think I mainly overcame some of that with my attitude outside of the ring. So I was trying to get better and be a better wrestler in the ring, but then the way you hold yourself outside of the ring is also very important. So being respectful, asking for feedback and things, trying to just be a respected person outside of the ring as well, which I think has worked because now I'm not wrestling currently. I'm still involved in like the event side of promoting shows, a few promotions in the Southwest, in South Wales and Bristol, and they trust me a lot to help them run their shows as a respected person. So I think if I was to then step back into the ring, I would have that respect as well as somebody who's trying to become a good professional wrestler.
Yeah, so as because you mentioned you stopped, do you have a regret?
I think part of me definitely misses being in the ring and doing the wrestling, but I don't think I regret it because I don't think that I could forgive myself if I did have another injury on my shoulder that would have stopped me for good. At least at the moment I've still got that option to go back and wrestle, whereas if I'd have injured my shoulder again, that would have been it completely. So I don't regret not rushing back into it. I do miss it, and yeah, I kind of hope that maybe one day I'll get back in the ring, but who knows.
That's the biggest who you are is Wrestle. So
yeah,
I've always wondering, how do you balance the physical demand of wrestling with other aspects of your life, such as work or education?
Yeah, so when I first started training, I was in college, I was in education, so I would train 5 times a week, but in all honesty, it was a very tiring experience for me. So I would get up for college, I'd be in college 9-10 o'clock till about 3. I'd go home. I also worked a small cleaning job, so I'd do an hour of cleaning, and then I would also go to training. So I would be non-stop 5 days a week, and you train for even longer on a Sunday. So on a Sunday I would we'd do like an hour of working out as well as training for wrestling. So I was very fit back then.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And that was hard to balance, but then I got into my career, so I started doing an apprenticeship and working with National Theatre of Wales, and then I was injured at that point as well, so I was forced to stop a bit, but I was still going every week and like doing squats and different things that I could do to keep in the mix with it all and keep involved with training and the wrestlers and that. But that was a bit easier on kind of how tired I would be in the week then.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I used to be very, very tired going to college and things. So moving into the working industry or my career with the theatre industry, I definitely took a bit more of a step back in terms of I wasn't training 5 days a week after that. It was more like 2 or 3 times a week because I still wanted to be as good as I could be. But obviously I needed to focus on my actual career because wrestling, it's really hard to make money in wrestling. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I had to focus on where I was going to make money, which is the arts industry.
You can make money by doing that.
You can. So my coach, he used to make money off the back of just being booked like 2 or 3 times a week, and his like you can build up. So basically, based on how good you are as a wrestler, you can set your wage higher and higher. The better you get, the more in demand you get. So he was quite renowned on the scene, and still is, so he could charge quite a lot, and wrestling 3 times a week then would make him enough money to be able to live. But also a lot of people would try and get signed by WWE or TNA, places like that, which eventually a lot of them did, because they brought WWE to Europe and the UK. But yeah, it is very hard, but it's possible. People go to Japan as well a lot. There's money to be made over there with it.
Japan?
Yeah, Japan, wow. USA and Europe, I would say, are the big places for it at the moment.
Did you go any of them?
No, I wasn't lucky enough to go,
Aww.
But a lot of my friends have, yeah. They'll have some good stories. A lot of people tend to love Japan. I'm not sure if I would because I'm a vegetarian and they eat a lot of fish out over there and a lot of like meats and things. I think they said that they did find it hard to be vegetarian, some of my vegetarian friends.
So, like you said, you're a vegetarian. Can you not eat without meat? Or you have to have meat and then food with it?
I suppose there'd be a lot of places where you could just have like rice and things, but I like my alternatives. My alternative like meats and things, like the vegetarian like stuff. I don't think I could just eat like the things without the meat in Japan, by the sounds of it, the experiences that my friends have had. But
oh wow,
yeah, it does sound interesting though. When I used to eat meat, I used to be able to try everything. I would try anything.
Yeah, and then
and now I can't try any of it. It's a big challenge for me, but it's the choice I made, so
yeah, I'm dying to know is how many wrestles are there in South Wales? Because I've not seen or heard many wrestle in Wales.
So there's quite a few actually. In terms of who we've got training at the school, there's probably between 30 and 50, somewhere between that. Like regulars, I would say about 30.
Well, 1-3.
3-0 training with us.
3-0, yeah.
Not all of them will be wrestling shows, but there's probably about 20 people who I could just name who do wrestle around the UK and in South Wales. At the moment there's 4 big like promotions that I associate with just in the southwest alone. So there's New Wave Wrestling is the school, and they do shows as well in Roath and Cardiff. Attack Pro Wrestling is quite a popular promotion in Cardiff as well. That's run by Mark Andrews, who is quite a big wrestler from Wales. You've got a place called Overdrive, which is just starting up. That will be in Cwmbran. There's Southwest Wrestling as well. There's No Mercy Wrestling. There's a Chaos Wrestling, which is based in Bristol, but it's run by Wild Boar and a band called Flash Morgan Webster, who is from Wales but lives in the Midlands. But they run a show in Bristol. So there's like a big scene that's going on, and they mainly use Welsh wrestlers, but also we've got people that we call like honorary Welsh people that have come from like London, some from the Midlands, things like that.
Wow, that is really interesting, because a couple of years ago, Cathay's community centre, my friend invited me to go to watch over. I'm like, Wrestle? There, really? Because it's quite small.
Yeah.
When you go when I go inside, it's massive. All the box ring and all I've seen boys wrestling there, and I'm like, how do you all fit in there? Yeah. Cathay Community Centre.
Yeah, Cathay's Community Centre. We actually used to train there as well. We were in Newport, then went to Cathay's, then went back to Newport. But pro wrestling was born and built in Cathay's, and it's like a wacky, wonderful kind of world of wrestling where lots of weird things happen. So at the moment they've got like a sunflower that wrestles, and he's got a son that's gonna start wrestling with him, and yeah, they've just got all these weird and wonderful characters and storylines that go on, and I think it built up a really nice niche of fans. Yeah, that's a really good one.
So you were one of them in Cathay's?
Well, yeah, I used to be a big part of like helping them run their shows. I did a couple of shows when they used to do like Thursday night shows. But yeah, my partner Josh wrestles for them now occasionally. So yeah.
Is he not injured or broken anything?
No, he's very, very lucky. The worst injury he's had is actually from playing football with his friends. So
wow, interesting.
Yeah.
So who are your wrestling role models, and how have they influenced your style or improved the sport?
So my biggest influences, my biggest role models are Wild Boar Mike Hitchman, my coach. So he was a big influence on me because I just really fell in love with the way that he wrestles, like his wrestling style. There's lots of different styles and ways that people like to wrestle in, but he's got this really explosive, like energetic way. And I was really like, I want to wrestle like that. Like he's somebody that I really look up to. There's quite a few people, I suppose, on the scene. There's in terms of like women's wrestler, my friend Danny Luna, she is really like making really big impact on the scene, especially in terms of women wrestlers, because she also, she shows that she can hang with the male wrestlers as well. She's wrestled them and she's just very good. So I obviously would want to be like her one day. In terms of like people, mainstream people from like WWE and things like that, the people that I mainly remember watching and thinking, oh my God, this is so cool. You've got like, this is going to show how late in the day I started watching wrestling. So you've got like Randy Orton, I used to watch and think, wow, like again, like that explosive wrestling.
Randy Orton, yeah.
Yeah, you know Randy Orton. Yeah. At the moment, I'm really loving Rhea Ripley. She's a current female wrestler in the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's really cool and, just shows that she can hang with the guys, I think, even though she probably hasn't wrestled any of them because they don't do that in the WWE. But yeah, I would say she's just as good as any of the guys. Yeah, I suppose other influences for me, I suppose somebody who's really good at talking, because you have to be good at the wrestling but also the talking as well, is John Cena.
Oh my God, John Cena!
Yeah, and The Rock, he's really good at talking as well.
Oh, Rock too.
Yeah, they're just like classic that I like.
I think the Dwayne Johnson, who's known as The Rock.
The Rock. Yeah, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Just in case if anyone wondering who's that person, so you know now, I think his father was the wrestler. Am I correct?
Yeah, so he's a legacy wrestler, but definitely proved his own kind of worth within wrestling as well, I think.
Yeah. I find it so interesting. I watched a lot of wrestling the program WWE.
Mhm.
They get more like impressive, talking, impressive, and then try to interact to the audience, people sitting watching.
Yeah, I think they went through the phase with the Attitude Era where it was all about like fighting and putting people through tables, and it got quite like gory and there was lots of blood all the time, and then they weren't really catering to the kids and the next generation of fans. So I think they brought it back and said, how do we cater to the younger generations and get them interested? So I think it then became more about the talking and the interacting, and yeah, just trying to rile up the fans basically and make them either hate you or love you.
But why though? They're interesting.
Yeah, I think maybe that's
to make it more entertainment.
Yeah, more entertaining, especially for the next generation of fans coming up. And just to like, their shows are so long now as well, like a pay-per-view, which is like a big show that they would have in like a big stadium with a bigger crowd, and they'd like have lots of championship matches and big storylines come to head at them. They go on for like 5 hours sometimes.
5 hours?
Yeah, mainly there's lots of like pre-show stuff. Like matches, smaller matches and things, but then like the actual shows would be like 3 hours long because there'd just be so much stuff going on and they'd be doing a lot of talking and things like that. But then I also suppose it then gives them a reason to ramp prices up on the tickets. Tickets can be quite expensive, especially for like WWE.
Wow, I used to watch all the time, and my favourite wrestler is Rey Mysterio.
Yes, he's a good
He is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I like how he's got design on his mask, and he's got a trouser.
Yeah.
And he's so cool. He's one of my favourites. I used to watch all the time. Even though when I was little as a kid, I used to go to shop with my mum and she bought a wrestler toy.
Yeah.
It's Rey Mysterio.
Oh, really?
I keep playing with it all the time.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Yeah, he's always been like a classic wrestler that you think about when you think of wrestling, especially with the mask and from like that Mexican kind of wrestling style as well. We call it high flying, so he does lots of the jumping off the ropes and he comes off his feet a lot, does flips and things. Yeah, that is a fun one, and I think that one definitely does cater to the younger audience, or at least when we used to be kids, we probably would have enjoyed him the most.
Yeah, it's got me thinking, you used to thought match before. Do you ever get your own design costume?
Yeah, so when you first start wrestling matches, you get your gear, we call it gear, which is like your wrestling costume. So when I first started out, I wanted to do more of like a hippie kind of character, but then it eventually turned into a bit more of a darker kind of like horror character. So she was called Kagi just because it was a name that my little sister used to call me, and it was just short and simple that I wanted for it. But then I was like, kind of my influences were like Charles Manson, kind of part of like this hippie tribe, but that was like a bit more creepy and horror-y, and because obviously the story of Charles Manson, that it was coming from that thing of like a twisted reality of like peace but with violence.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was like a creepy character. She had like a peace sign on my top, and then some tassels as well to go with the hippie vibe, but I had like greasy hair and like dark eyes, and like I looked a bit crazy and unhinged. That was my character. But then also once I had my second shoulder surgery, my partner Josh at the time was doing like a 50s like heartthrob gimmick or character. So I managed him. I don't know if you know who Paul Heyman is. He manages a lot of wrestlers in WWE. So I came out with him on his entrance and like cheered him on from the side of the ring. So I did Daisy May Love, which was like my 50s girl next door, like pretty gimmick, which was completely opposite.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. You designed that yourself?
Yeah, so, well, my first character I designed or like came up with what she would look like, and then I had some help off my coach Mike to design the actual gear or the costume, and then I went to a seamstress who specifically makes costumes for wrestling or wrestlers, and she made the costume for me. Yeah.
So now you're not fighting anymore. You still have them.
Yeah, I've still got the costumes, even though I'm not fighting anymore. They're quite expensive to get because they're custom made to what you design. I've got 3 in total for when I'm wrestling, and I've still got the dress for when I'm managing. Yeah, I've got like different colours and slightly different designs. I had trousers to start off with, and then I went to like trunks, we call them, which are just like really short shorts.
Well, 3. Like
Yeah,
it could
3.
be home costume and then away costume.
Yeah.
Third one.
Yeah, a lot of people get them for like when they're like heels and faces. So when they're the good guy, they wear like maybe lighter colours, or when they're the bad guy, they wear like the blacks and the darker colours, or they might have, like different gear for different like characters maybe, or different things like that. So yeah.
So maybe if you still have them, you could put that on the frame on the wall.
Yeah,
As in
possibly.
collection. I think collection would be so cool.
Yeah, I could do, I suppose. Not that I've ever done anything very good in terms of my wrestling in them, but yeah, I could do, I suppose, to show my kids one day.
Oh yeah, that'd be really good because it's who you are with Wrestle and.
Yeah, I used to have a jacket with tassels, so maybe that can go on the wall.
Just make sure you don't scare them.
No, I won't.
Can you share a memorable moment from your wrestling career that had a significant impact on you?
Yes, I suppose I can. For me, it was when I had my debut, my first match, I came back after it, and then my coach Mike, so basically this story, I'll start from the beginning. So when I was starting to train, I first started to train to be a wrestler, I went to Tenby on a holiday with my mum, and there was a promotion called Welsh Wrestling doing a show. So I was like, oh, let's go for fun. It's not too expensive. So we went, and we were chatting to the person at the door getting the tickets, and he said, oh, where are you training? And I said, at the time it was called Dragon Pro Wrestling. And he was like, oh, we've got Wild Ball Mike Hitchman here tonight. So that was the first time I'd ever seen my coach, who would eventually be my coach, wrestle, because at the time he wasn't a coach there. He had just trained there himself and was now working on the scene. So I saw him wrestle, and then after the show, I asked him if I could get a picture with him. So I got a picture with him after the show.
No way.
Yeah, and then eventually he became my coach at Dragon Pro, and he started coaching other people. So I had my debut then in Cathays, actually, wrestling for Attack on their Thursday night shows. And he then, after my match, he came up to me and asked me for a picture. So it was like a full circle moment. Then I had the 2 pictures of me when I first saw him wrestle, and him when he first saw me wrestle on a show.
No way.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a really nice full circle moment for me that I like to look back on and think, oh, that was like a really cool moment. But yeah, it was cool.
You're so lucky.
Thanks.
Yeah. That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
What does wrestling mean to you?
It means a lot to me. So to me, it means that there's a whole group of people who have found their kind of family. So especially within wrestling, as a wrestler or somebody involved in the actual show part of it, there's a big family of people. So it could just be the people who are the wrestlers, it could be the people, who are there's photographers, videographers, there's ring announcers, commentators, there's all sorts of people that are involved, and like we've just got our little family, and we have this weird thing that we all enjoy doing and watching and being involved in. But it's also like it's an art form. I think that's one thing that there's been a massive confusion about. Is it a sport or is it an art form? And you do have to be very athletic and fit, and there is an element of being physically fit to it, but it's not really a sport. It is more of an art form because you get to make your own ideas up about it, and you tell stories, and that story could be just in the match, or it could be over a span of a year or whatever, like however many shows. And I think I'm really passionate about getting that into the arts industry, because it is an art form. So yeah, it just means a lot to me, because it is part of something that I've already got a career in as well. I've got a career in the arts. I work for the Wales Millennium Centre, so it's trying to marry those two things again that I love and get them to coincide in a way, and it would help the wrestling industry, and I also think it would add to the arts industry.
Yeah, it's really, really good to do what you enjoy. Yeah. I'm not sure if you knew, but I think it was last year or the year before, John Cena came to, was it Comic-Con?
Oh, probably, yeah, Comic-Con.
Yeah, and did you go there?
No, I'm not a big person in terms of like going to see certain people. I'm not big on Comic-Con either, but I feel like I would enjoy Comic-Con though. So maybe I should become a Comic-Con person. But no, yeah, I don't tend to really go and see certain people if they come to Cardiff.
I thought it would be so cool if you go there and see John Cena.
Yeah, if I saw him.
But I'll try to get there, but...
Oh, really?
Tickets was full, and...
Oh, it's expensive.
Yeah, me and my friend Bablu and Jack, we were trying to get ticket.
Oh, really?
Even though they wouldn't get back to us, so we're going to go there instead.
That's a shame.
I know I'm a big fan of Marvel, all the stuff, because it's...
Yeah, I love Marvel.
Comic-Con, it's more of dress up any character you dress up.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting John Cena actually going to Wales. I'm like, nah, that can't be real. It can't be real. I can leave it wait for a few months later. Oh, it's real.
Yeah.
It's just because lots of people who are traveling from Europe or America, and they're like, actually, let's go to London, let's go to Manchester. I never will travel to Wales.
Yeah,
so
it seems to be left behind
a
lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it makes me think, come on to Wales.
Yeah.
And that's why I never believed this stuff. But now I realise, yes, finally it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. I think sometimes when they come, so WWE come and do shows that aren't televised in the CIA.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes the wrestlers do like meet and greets in like Smith's Toys and things like that, HMV. So it is possible, but yeah, in terms of like Comic-Cons and things, I never think that there'll be anybody that big that would come to Cardiff or Wales.
Me, yeah.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But yeah, I've met lots of people who are big in like other promotions and things, but I don't think... Well, for anybody who does know wrestling, Pete Dunne, who also known as Butch, is signed to WWE. He's somebody that I worked very close with before he got signed. And then there's also like Jordan Devlin, JD, I think he's known as now. He's also British, so there's quite a few of them that do go over and get their big break, so to speak. But yeah, it's just I've not met many of the American ones.
No, same. Like, I'm not seeing many girls who does wrestling. I mean, when I watch WWE, the program, there's a lot of girls involved and boys, yes. But in real life, I've not seen anyone who girls wrestling in Wales, London, America. I'm not seeing any real life. Apart from the program we watch, it makes sense, but...
Yeah. So, if you did want to see more women wrestling, there is a wrestling promotion in London called Eve Riot Girls of Wrestling, and they're basically just a show full of women wrestlers, and it's punky, it's like a bit radical, but that kind of will showcase your best women and your upcoming women in the UK. Yeah, and they are really cool. It's run by a woman, so what more could you want?
Is there anything you want to watch?
There's so many places around the country doing shows, and I mean, some of them are better than others in terms of like the production. So some people have more money to invest in production. Some people, have more money to invest in good wrestlers. There's a lot of wrestlers, especially in England, that will cost a lot of money, but they'll bring in a lot of fans as well. But it's just that, yeah, there's a whole other conversation to be had about promoting and the struggles and things behind that. But yeah, there are some good gems in the UK that you can go to. So yeah, just got to find your niche and find what you enjoy, and yeah, it's good.
That's so cool. Have you ever played games? The wrestling games?
A few of them, yeah.
Same. Yeah, I used to always pick Rey Mysterio or The Rock.
Yeah, nice.
Or actually, Batista.
Batista's great.
Oh my god. Batista, like, massive.
He is massive.
It's too good.
He is great. He's a legend, yeah.
I know a lot of wrestling, or the audience, they wanted Batista out of WWE, and then he came back. And do you hear about that, or?
Oh, well, I think I remember him coming back, I think.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I don't tend... I'm a very much like an indie wrestling scene kind of girl. I like what's local to me, and WWE, yeah, it's a very big corporation that makes a lot of money, and that's the politician in me will come out. But yeah, I think there can be a lot of controversial characters, a lot of like their outside lives can come into the mix, which obviously isn't fair because your personal life should be a personal life. But I think that's one thing that you buy into when you sign your contract. You do become a celebrity, so a lot, with most celebrities, their personal lives get scrutinized and things like that. A lot of that can come into it, but also maybe a lot of stuff in the ring. Sometimes people do believe a bit too much what people's characters are like.
I'm like, why?
Yeah. So yeah, when The Rock is like a bad guy, they might believe it a bit too much when he's a heel and think that he should be fired, but in reality he's just doing it to get that emotion out of people, so he's probably doing a good job.
Yeah. Oh, let's go back to Prowess, where you met a lot of others wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware they have behind the scene, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what it's like you with others behind the scene?
So I suppose it depends who I'm with, the group that I'm with. So at the moment I get involved in a lot of like my friends' promotions and wrestling shows, a lot of people like my coaches and things like that. So the people behind the scenes are just people I'm friendly with and I know. But sometimes you do get people that maybe you've never met before, or that maybe you don't get on with. There is a lot of that drama nowadays, that people don't get along with each other. So yeah, I think if I'm with a group of friends that I like, I just tend to enjoy myself, have a good time, and I always, try and make people, if there are people that have come in that have never met us before, try and make them feel welcome, get them involved in conversation and learn a bit more about them and who they are and who they know and things like that as well, because you just never know when a networking opportunity is coming up. But also, yeah, if it's people that may be more difficult to work with or that I don't know and maybe have, not sure about, I just try and carry myself with as much like respect for people as possible. Treat people with respect. I don't have to be friendly with everybody if I don't want to be, but as long as I'm not, being rude or nasty to anybody, that's like my core values.
Yeah, I thought I'm expecting more like...
Oh, you want some drama?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I just watched the WWE program. I thought I'm expecting like this, but happened to you behind the scene, but nope.
No, I tried to stay away from the drama, to be honest.
Yeah. I thought I'm expecting, but nope.
No,
I was wrong. My bad.
Yeah, I'm a very, very tame person. I've got a lot of patience, so I won't.
Yeah.
I don't like.
You don't want to upset people. You want to be respect and.
Yeah, I want to be nice to people. Sorry, I haven't got a good story for you, but.
Oh, please.
No, I haven't got one. Sorry.
Oh, damn.
I know.
Yeah, I understand respect and support each other, networking. Makes sense.
Yeah. I can try and start a fight with somebody next weekend if you want, and then I'll tell you about it. I'm joking.
Oh, I'm gonna cry when I get home. I'm gonna cry when I get home.
No.
So upset right now. No, I'm joking. Yeah, that's so interesting. And is there anything else you would like to talk about? It could be anything.
I think maybe I could talk a bit about... So in February of this year, 2023, I promoted my own wrestling show. Yeah, it was called the Outcast Wrestling Club because, I like a bit of rock music, punky music, kind of like all the... And I thought, people in wrestling could be considered as outcasts because it's not as popular as like a football. It's not considered like a mainstream hobby. So I wanted to create a promotion that kind of made the outcasts and the outsiders feel welcome, that they could mix together. And also, you know, I'm a big advocate for, you know, just bringing together people with protected characteristics, you know, diverse backgrounds, and making them feel like they have a space that they can all exist together and enjoy something. So yeah, I did a show in Cardiff, but yeah, it was a very successful show. It went well. It was about 80% full with fans, I think, I would hope. But yeah, it was hard to maintain that, because to get a good promotion going, you maybe want to start running every other month. And we did the one show, and I was like, I'm not sure if I could do this every other month. It's quite expensive. It was taking up a lot of my personal expenses. So yeah, just to raise awareness is actually quite hard to start from scratch and build a promotion. But it's something that I hope to continue one day. Yeah, I don't know if you've got any questions around promoting.
Yeah, that's amazing what you have. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how long did it take you to do that?
So I started planning it fully in like the summer before. So it took me probably about a good 6 months from booking in the venue. That was the main thing. You need your venue, and then like getting all the people booked in, the wrestlers booked in, getting a ring. Like there's so much to think about. Like if we wanted photographers, somebody to video it.
Yeah, they're more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we were thinking like, how do we make, because we had a hall that was quite affordable, but it didn't necessarily look like, I wanted it to look like a club vibe, like you were kind of like a biker gang club. That's what I was going for. But it was like a hall that did like local school plays and things. So we were like, how do we make this look a bit more atmospheric? So we bought some up lights, so lights that went up the wall, and it put like pink was our colour, like a hot pink, and black. So we put like pink up the walls. We had like tinsel curtains and things just to make it look a bit more cool. I also had to apply for like a license to do the bar, so we sold drinks and alcohol, and we had an outcast cocktail club, so we did cocktails. Yeah, it was a long process, but it was fun, a bit stressful, but I think it always is when it's your own thing.
You do that all on your own, and you get a lot of help.
So mainly the logistics of it was on my own, but my partner Josh, he did a lot of the social media stuff for it. So we had to ask somebody to make up like match graphics. So we'd have like this wrestler versus this wrestler, and we'd like announce the stuff on social media. So we had to build up a social media presence and announce all of our matches and things. But I also wanted to bring in like the health and safety side of it. So I risk assessed everything. We sent contracts out. That's something that doesn't actually happen in the independent scene. You don't see a lot of like signed contracts. So at the moment, like wherever you message somebody or email somebody, that becomes your contract, because that's your proof that you've agreed to do this show on this day for this amount of money. But to me, it was just like, we need a bit more organisation in it, and a bit, because then if something did go wrong, I could go stand up in a court and say, look, I've done it all professionally this way. If there is a mistake or there is something that's gone wrong, then at least I've done it to a professional standard. That probably doesn't, matter so much in terms of like, you know, who's right and who's wrong. That is what it is. But I just think, you start to get better standards then, and people start expecting better standards, and that's how we lift up the rest of the industry as a whole. But I could go on and on forever about it.
Nah, keep going all you want. Yeah, I just enjoy listening more.
Yeah, about it. Cool. But yeah, it was fun, and I hope to do it again one day. But I'm trying to find my unique selling point.
Yeah. So perhaps one day you can create your own Wrestle, maybe call it the Kathryn Parker Wrestle Show.
The Kathryn Parker Wrestle Show, all about me. I'll wrestle everyone.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
And you can knock people down so easy.
Yeah.
By the way, don't hurt me.
I won't hurt you, don't worry.
Phew.
You're my friend, it's all good. I'll protect you.
Yay me. Yay me. I'm so glad to hear that. Of course, you're my friend too.
Thank you.
You're my friend too,
oh,
yeah.
That's lovely.
That's what we're friends for.
Yeah.
Yeah. High five.
Cool.
Yeah. Can you describe me 5 words about Wrestle?
5 words. Fun, energetic, loud, Um, dangerous.
You are dangerous, aren't you?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
And
TikTok, I'm joking.
TikTok.
No, like tick.
Taking forever.
Not TikTok, the app. The TikTok, I think, clock.
The clock's ticking.
Yeah.
5 is a lot. Exhilarating. There you go, a big one.
Ooh, that's a good word. Yeah. Okay, I always thinking about, I thought about myself. Do you get your own music when you know?
Yeah. So when you start wrestling, most people will just get a song that they like. It's something that gives you the energy when you come out, because you do an entrance. Some people just come out and do high fives, or like Josh, my partner, does this little side step and he's like all full of himself and he thinks he's amazing because he's got like this mullet and... So I actually was approached by somebody who wanted to start making custom wrestling songs, because usually you would pick something off Spotify or something and say this is my song, but he's actually was part of the band The Blackout. They're from Merthyr, so he was a musician anyway, but wanted to start making custom songs for people. And he said that he was really inspired by my character, my wrestling character, so he wanted to make me a song. So he kind of like took this kind of techno-y, screechy vibe, very dark, and like there was a scream in there as well because it was like horror-y. He took a lot of inspiration from horror movies. And
like what?
Yeah, kind of like, I don't know if I'd be able to find it now. I could send it to you. You could put it into the podcast. Put a
I will drop
in there.
Her music and you will hear what she like.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this.
very creepy and like, yeah, it fitted my character. But yeah, people tend to like either pick a song that's already out there or they get one made. Yeah, it's cool. We'll have to get you an entrance theme.
Oh. You can deliver me if you want.
I'll find you one.
Yay. So, you know what I like about you, Kathryn, is you are a brave, strongest person, and you are unique to the Wrestle.
Thank you.
And that's what I like about you. And, you know, I'm inspired because of you're the only person who loves Wrestle. But I don't know anyone else. But I'm inspired and I'm glad I've got you on my podcast to talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been really good fun. I'm honoured to be on your podcast.
You're welcome, and I'm glad you came and talk about it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening, and peace.